us. Okay, hello, back at it again. Here again with the proximity series. Want to remind you guys to stream the African Superstar. Make sure you add my tracks to your playlist. You can purchase the catalog at bandcamp.com. Big shout out to the African Superstar family, guys. When you get in the room, you know the protocols. I'm back at it again with another proximity. Today, I want to talk about distorted gender roles. All right, so I'll be waiting for you to get into the chat room. Hello, guys. I see that like. If you are new to my channel, there is a code for live streams. Live streams are contingent on your interaction. So please get into the chat room. You can greet me. You can greet the family members. Also, make sure you like the stream. You can also support if you're enjoying this proximity series. Please, please, please contribute because it's so valuable to get the input of the audience. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. How are you guys doing today? Hello. How are you guys doing today? Are you happy? Are you happy to see me? I hope so. Yes, indeed. We're just going to wait for a few more people to get in and I will begin the topic because obviously the live streams start when you guys get in the chat room. That's how I know that you're ready for the topic. Okay. I want to give a special shout out to my homegirl, Dr. Carnita Groves. I was with her the entire afternoon. We had such a lovely time. If you guys are interested in bespoke tours, please make sure you reach out to africansuperstar@gmail.com and we can converse about your plans. I did receive an email today from Chinadu, I believe, and I did return that email. So make sure you check your email box. Hello. I respond pretty quickly unless I'm extremely busy or traveling. So if you reach out to me, you can look forward to a speedy response. Hello, guys. We're waiting for you in the chat room. Please, please, please. Hello, 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 hello. Let's get it popping, family. ATM International, thank you so much for being the hero for your peers. I see you there. Good to see you. Yes, tonight I want to talk about distorted gender roles. It is no surprise that the Western world has the most confusion around gender wars. Simultaneously, there's also a gender war going on between male and female. You also have the immersion of the mainstream transgender movement, the promotion of the LGBT, and all of these things conclusively create a lot of confusion and distorted gender roles. When we look at members of the diaspora all around the world, hands down, those in the West have a lot of confusion regarding their identity, gender wars, sexuality, etc., etc. So today I will share some videos that also express this. I definitely can see the difference of traditional gender roles, living here in Africa, seeing that a lot of people are quite content with the male's role and the female's role. A lot of females have no interest in operating like a man. And I think that, unfortunately, on both sides of the coin, it makes people undesirable, okay? Because women don't like feminine men, and men don't like masculine women. And by confusing the genders and confusing all of the identifiers and equality and all this kind of stuff, you create mass confusion. And what that does is it's just another obstacle. Hello. It's just another obstacle to family, community, and those type of things. You see, because what the Western world does a lot of times is, in my opinion, it delays you. Okay? You get engrossed in this and that, a lot of erroneous things. You have a lot of people in the Western world consumed with their education, consumed with money. They need this, they need that, and they delay nature's purpose and premise for us. Okay? Nature's purpose and premise for us. Who knows what mankind needs to continue to exist? Just go ahead. First trivia question. Who knows what mankind needs to continue to exist? What needs to take place? Hello. Is it your doctorate degree? Huh? Is it your catch flights, not feelings? Is it your Lexus luxury car? Your 4-bedroom house? Hello? Is it your ability to vote? Do these things sustain humanity? Hello? Guys, let's get in the chat room, please. Y'all know that it's a live stream, please. Every day. Every day I have to express this. I don't know why. Live streams are interactive. If you don't want to be a part of the live stream, don't come in, because I'm going to see the numbers and I'm going to be like, where are you guys at? What does mankind need to continue to exist? This is a very simple question. Who can answer it? Get in the chat room, please. Hit the likes. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Guys, you do know low interaction, low engagement gets the stream cut short. So if you're enjoying these streams, please just do your part. That's all I ask. Okay? The very basic premise of mankind is reproduction. Okay? A lack of reproduction does what? Reduces populations. And when it gets so extremely exacerbated, the people just cease to exist altogether. We see this. There's plenty of evidence of this taking place. Either a people becoming extinct because of environmental things like a change in climate, a natural disaster, things like that, or they have been exterminated. You know what I mean? Like the Native Americans and plenty other populations that have been lost to conquest, wars, disease, and all these type of things. What happens in the Western world more specifically is there's a promotion of confusion and distractions that gets your attention and gets you wrapped up in this. We see this, unfortunately, with a lot of ladies, okay? Because a lot of ladies in the Western world, especially Black women, are promoted to be independent, are promoted to pursue higher education and all these type of things, promoted to have a certain outlook and behavior. And what ends up happening is they waste their youth with this type of ideology that, you know, they can do as men can do, that they can wait until they're older or settled or whatever to settle down, only to get the reality that, you know, unfortunately, for the most part, younger women are a huge preference of men, especially men that want to give birth and have children. And obviously, women have a biological clock. Women are not able to give birth naturally for the entire duration of their life. You see, so this distorted gender roles rather is just another tool used to defer our natural purpose and reduce our population. And also, I believe it's a perpetuation of capitalism. Okay? Now follow me. Hello. I'm going to wait for you guys to get the likes up. Nobody's in the chat room. What's up, Abdul? Hello. Lord have mercy. If y'all don't get it together by the 15-minute mark, I'm going to end the stream because I can't. I'm tired. And I came because I'm holding my end of the deal. I can't get likes. I can't get community support in the chat room. What's up tonight? Hello. Get the likes up. I believe that all of this chaos in the Western world is yet another opportunity to make money. Okay? Because when you are a self-aware, confident, functional, ambitious type of individual, you don't always need a lot of external things, and you don't need a lot of products to function. Thank you, Ward Drum. I see you there. Thank you to the fellas. The fellas is on code tonight. Thank you. I'm not seeing any of the ladies yet. Thank you so much, guys, because it's a struggle. It's hard to do these live streams when no one is conversing. Thank you. Devfly KM, I see you there. Yes. So the more deficient you are and the more problems you have, okay, the more opportunities for them to market to you. Market services, market therapy, market medicine, market potential solutions to your problems. Okay. I reckon that this whole transgender boom in the Western world, it's money making for the pharmaceutical industry. Oh, now perfectly healthy males and females are going to doctors unnecessarily, getting hormone therapies, doing reconstructive surgery, and all this kind of stuff. It's money making. So it's actually killing two birds with one stone, because now you have augmented this human being. Okay. Maybe now their reproductive system may be damaged. It may not function the way that it's supposed to be. All right. And you get to laugh all the way to the bank. Okay. I did a whole episode about the proximity and the specific attack on black males. How better to attack the community by destroying the black men. Okay. I've also noticed that with a lot of this transgender stuff, you have males transitioning into females. Why do the black men want to be black women? Is it that they perceive that a woman's life is less intensive than a man's? Distorted gender roles. We also see that other foreigners, when they migrate to the Western world, their children morph and change, and they will find an audience for all type of wild and perverted ideologies, and they will always have support. And guess what? That support is always non-black. Let me tell you, here in Ghana, a couple years ago, they tried to open an LGBT office for support LGBT. Now, Ghana and most African nations are very traditional in the sense, obviously there's homosexuals here, obviously there's cross-dressers here, and all of that stuff. But obviously it's something that is primarily done behind closed doors, because socially it's just not acceptable. You're here on the African continent, very religious place, surfacely, and obviously these type of practices are totally adverse the religious practices, so it's not tolerated out in the open here and in most places in Africa. So these LGBT people, obviously trying to penetrate the continent, have been really, really, really focusing and trying to enter Ghana. All right. So these LGBT people came here, a lot of them Western, a lot of them YT people, and they set up an office, right? Consequently, the community burned down the office and ran the people out. But I don't find it to be a coincidence whenever you have these alternative lifestyles being promoted, or for instance, in the Western world, you have a big feminist movement. Okay, who originated that movement? It's YT women. You know, any type of adversity to a normal, traditional, heterosexual life and identity, you always have YT people at the front of that movement promoting you to live waywardly, promoting you to do things that will affect your family lines, promoting you to do things that are detrimental, and destroying your identity, destroying the way you identify yourself. Tons of distorted gender roles in the Western world. It's another problem of proximity. Okay? I keep saying it through all of these episodes. The closer we are to them, the more dysfunctional we become. Okay? The closer we are to them, the more danger that we are in. Okay? The closer we are to them, the more they capitalize and we lose. And that's just the facts. I have some videos I want to share to back up this argument. I think it's valuable because obviously I feel the way I feel when I express this on the channel, but other people are also raising these concerns because those of us with common sense can see that this is leading our people down a terrible path. Okay, big shout out to the African Superstar family, guys. If you're here, let me see you in the chat room. Hello, hello. Let me see. Abdul says, no one says it better than the Wu Tang. It's about the dollar bill, y'all. And Deathfly KM says, I believe it's money making. I mean, the whole, let me say, I don't want to call it self help, but, you know, this whole trauma projection, everybody's been traumatized, everybody's been abused. Excuse me. Jeez. This whole movement is money making. Okay, because now you're looking at yourself in rose colored glasses. You think you need help. You know, by all means, I know there are some very traumatized individuals. I know there are people who have been through heinous things. But there are some people, you know, your situation is not as severe as you're making it out to be. Okay? You had a breakup because you were, excuse my language, a shitty partner. Huh? You neglected your spouse. Okay, you didn't take care of your kids. You got sacked from your job because you went to work high and you came late every day. Huh? Okay, you're broke because you're lazy or you have poor money management. No get up and go, no hustle. You spend more than you earn. These are not always traumatic. Okay, a lot of what is happening in your life, a lot of times, is the sum of your decisions and your actions. That's the truth. Now, is your therapist going to tell you that? No. Is your pharmacist going to tell you that? No. Okay? Because you going and getting, you know, whatever you're getting to try to help you work through these issues makes them money. You know, I often wonder why, for instance, are people in therapy for so long? Now, I've never taken therapy. I'm not a traumatized individual. I mean, you know, the only thing that I would say is traumatizing or disturbing, in my opinion, was racism. You know, the racial construct in America. But I ultimately forecasted the solution that I needed, which was I need to get out of proximity, and it alleviated a lot of the problems. Okay, dealing with cold weather when I hate cold weather. I'm in a tropical climate, so much better now. You know, the lifestyle, the daily grind, the high cost of living. Okay, I shifted those problems to give myself solutions. Okay, so I believe that in as much maybe things do happen to you, um, it has to be a conscious decision that you're ready to move forward. You know, I think that unfortunately, things that happen to you, for instance, let me just give a word to the wise to anyone who may be struggling with some of these topics. Anything that happened to you in your childhood, you know, most cases was beyond your control. You know, people were taking advantage of situations, taking advantage of proximity, and, you know, abusing power. If you're someone who's been molested, or you're someone who's been neglected, or you just had a very rough and scattered upbringing, that is not your fault. But as an adult, you do have the power to take control of your life and change the outcome. There are so many people that started off in humble beginnings or started off in rough situations that have consciously been able to change those dynamics. Okay, but I would say that if you've had certain exposure to negative things or unhealthy or dysfunctional lifestyles, you know, it will be a conscious effort for you to transform your life and decide that you don't want to continue to repeat those things, you know, but there is light at the tunnel. One thing I always wondered is, why are people in therapy for years and years and years? Why don't they turn a corner? You know, why don't they get rejuvenated? It's because it's designed not for you to. Okay, they want to retain you there. That's why they're going to book you for the 12 sessions. Okay, you go in there, you're obese, and you're telling them about all the effects of how this obesity is affecting you. You know, your love life sucks. You have depression, low self esteem, maybe you're suicidal, all this stuff because of your weight. Is your therapist going to tell you, bro, you need to get healthy? Okay. Maybe if you exercise, it will relieve some of your stress. It will also impact your physical appearance. It will also lift your spirits because as you begin to see the changes, you will be motivated because you know that your time is being well spent. Are they going to tell you that? No, they're not going to tell you that because that's something that they can convey to you in a couple sessions. Okay, better to get you locked in for the 25 sessions. Or, some people have been in therapy for decades or whatever. And I'm thinking, like, what kind of job is this? Because if I had, for instance, a project, some of you guys know my educational background is in project management. Mm-hmm. So let's say I had a project. Okay, obviously human beings are not projects, but you can use the ideology. Okay, you give yourself a specific amount of time to, complete this project. And that time comes and goes, and then you're telling them, hey, well, I haven't completed the project. I know the project was a 3-year project, but it's year 7 and I still haven't completed it. We would get freaking fired. These doctors and all this stuff, these pharmacists and pharmaceutical companies get paid regardless of their healing record. Their rehabilitation record. Why is that? It's all money making. Okay? They don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They just want the fringe benefits. Okay? And they'll do anything to get it. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Wardrum says anything that makes money, they are for it. I did ask a question earlier in the broadcast, and I noted that a lot of these transgender transitions are males to females. And I'm asking, like, why is that taking place? And Dovefly KM says maybe they realize there's power in the female. But I mean, obviously what I'm about to say is controversial. I don't know how some of you guys feel about it, but the truth is that you are born male and female. Biologically, you will always be male or female. So that means if you change your appearance to mimic another sex, it doesn't make you genuinely that sex. You don't possess what that sex does and how it functions. Okay? Your genetics, your skeleton, your anatomy, your biology is still going to indicate that you are male or female. So whatever you're doing, you're going through great lengths to change your exterior, and underneath you're still what you are and you still have that function. That's just the truth. I need to get into the videos. Abdul says everyone has been conditioned in one form or another by the Western world. Sweetberry 32, I see you. Yes. All right, family guys, make sure you get into the chat room. Tonight I'm talking about dangers of proximity. Again, it's no mystery that the Western world is the most messed up when it comes to gender roles, all this promotion of alternative lifestyles, even the gender war between males and females. This stuff is not happening all across the world, So common denominator tells you, okay, it's something that's happening in the Western world. Proximity. These people are messed up. And the longer we're with them, it begins to rub off on us. Plain and simple. All right. So I have a couple videos that are along these topics I want to share with the family. Okay. Just to highlight the level of confusion that the Western world promotes.
I know. What does it depend on? I know trans men that can get pregnant. That means it's a woman. Only one sex can get
That's a
pregnant.
circular argument. That's
It's not a
making the
circular
point.
argument.
Yeah.
It's proving my thing. There is a truth, a concrete truth. You have to be born with a uterus to have a baby. Only women can get pregnant. The fact that we've arrived in a society
Right,
where
and that's the
this is
part
even
I'm disagreeing
debatable,
with. That's the part I'm disagreeing
there's nothing
with.
to disagree with it. These are facts. So you can say that this person who is pregnant identifies as a man. That person was born a woman. I can tell you that every single time because only women can have sex because there are concrete truths about life.
Have babies.
Can have babies, pardon, and that is a hard truth about life. You cannot make that go away because you want to call a man somebody who has a beard and dresses like a dude a woman. Only if it's pregnant, I can tell you exactly what it is. It's a woman.
What do you say a woman is?
I believe that everyone can identify for themselves.
Okay. Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
And men get pregnant.
Depends. I know.
So on this clip, you see Candace Owens having a discussion with a young man and asking him, can men become pregnant? Now, this is a very, very simple question. The answer is no. Okay? Trans women are men. They are men masquerading as women. They do not have the function that women have, nor will they ever. And again, this is another testament to the confusion of the Western world. This is an irrefutable truth. All right? It doesn't matter how you feel about it, it's just the facts. It requires a male and female to conceive naturally. All right? Even if you are using science to conceive, you still need the sperm, you still need the egg. The women generate eggs, okay? We have a menstrual cycle and a process that helps us generate the eggs. Men have the sperm. Okay, the sperm has to fertilize the egg, and that is how a child is conceived in the natural means. Okay, I mean, it's one of those questions like, is water wet? And the fact that it's gotten so distorted in the Western world, people can't even answer a simple question of, can a man get pregnant? It shows the level of distortion that's happening. All right, the next video.
Anyone, including men, can mother.
No.
And play the role of a
Men,
mother.
father.
Piers, would you...
Women, mother. That's because the titles are male and female titles.
Okay, to mother and to father are not gender specific.
They are gender specific.
No, they're not.
Why are we pretending otherwise?
The skills
Of course
to
they're
mother
gender
and to
specific.
father can be acquired.
Are you a woman?
I am a woman, but I'm also capable of the skills it takes to father a child. Similarly, you are a man and you are capable of the skills to mother a child.
Mothers are women. I hate to break it to you.
Okay,
I know we're not allowed to say this anymore, but it's an insult to every damn mother in this country. That some of these blokes who come along and go, I'm mummy. No, you're not.
You
You're
are.
your daddy.
So this is a clip from Piers Morgan. He is a very well-known, albeit controversial journalist from the UK. And in this discussion, this woman is saying that women can father and that men can mother in parenting roles, that basically you can kind of choose how you parent. And he is contesting that and saying, no, mother's mother and father's father. You are a parent, and parents can obviously maybe assume other roles. We would say, okay, typically the mother is supposed to be the nurturer. According to traditional family roles, the mother cooks, the mother does all these type of things with the child, and the father is the provider and the worker, and he does the more leisurely things. Or if the child is a male child, he'll typically teach him sports or maybe outdoorsy stuff, or how to fix things. These are the traditional stereotypical things. And in this discussion, the woman is saying, no, we can do, I am a woman, but I can be a father. I can father a child. And we can see also from the single family crisis in the Western world, it's very evident that women can't father and men can't mother. There are some such situations, and some of it even pertains to some of you guys. You've been put in situations where you are a single parent, so you've had to try to do these elements. However, the truth is you will have deficits in those areas because you are either a male or female, and you have those roles, you have those outlooks. Men and women are genetically different. The way we see the world, our perceptions. Women are a lot very emotional. We are designed like that, to be nurturers. We go through the whole process of this child growing inside of us and all this, and the giving birth and all these type of things that males can never understand. That even if they are beside you during the entire process, it is what it is. And this is, again, just confusion. You have people on the mainstream news, mainstream media having these discussions that are like, shouldn't even deserve the time of day because they're so absurd. And the last one I want to share is a prime example. And this one is particularly jarring. I think you guys may find it jarring, but this is what they want, for instance, our black men to be like. This is how they want them to behave. And there's so much support and love and promotion for them to live alternative lifestyles and not function in their role, because their role in the community is so prolific and important. So if we can distract young men and get them to want to be women or transition into women or masquerade as women, that's one less black man that we have to worry about becoming who he is meant to be. Let's hit the lights, guys. If you are here in the building, get into the chat room. Okay, I see 11 of you in the viewing, but that's not in the chat room. Hello, let's be on code. All right.
So today was my first day in uniform, and here's how it went. Everyone was super nice. Only a few people had a little adverse of a reaction to me. I was just so validated in who I am as a person, and it permits me to serve my country in my full capacity, just being comfortable with who I am at work. It makes me geared up. It makes me want to deploy, defend freedom, and uphold the Constitution and democracy. It honestly does. It really does. But most of all, I want to say thank you to the people out here who support me and trans people in the military like me. We couldn't do it without y'all. It is a lonely world out here for trans people. It is one hell of a fight, but know that as hard as you fight for us and you hold us down, we fight for America 10 times harder. So thank you for all the people that support us trans folks, and more updates to come. Thank you.
Okay, so in this TikTok, you see a young man that is living, masquerading as a woman. This is particularly jarring because obviously you can tell it's a man, but very feminine hair, blue contacts, a full face of makeup. I can only imagine that people in the military, the distraction that this would cause. The distraction of seeing, this very handsome young man as a female. And this is, and again, we see that through social media, they get so much visibility and support. Okay, the Western world, they are not out there working on how to solve issues in the country, make the quality of life better, technology, innovations, nothing. They're busy telling men, hey, you can't, you're a woman, trans woman. What the hell is that? Who even came up with the term? So this man, it's nuts. I mean, it's just it's really distracting. So I think that it's very obvious, again, proximity is that dangerous killer. Proximity is something that we don't realize. It's really, really impacting our people on a very severe level. Okay, it's gotten so severe that things that are basic, our people are struggling. You know, we have black people that deny their origins, deny their connections to the continent. We have black people, they don't know their gender anymore. We have, you know, women saying, I can do what men can do. Men that are very feminine, behave, have a lot of feminine tendencies. It's crazy. And what it causes, like I said, it causes distraction. Okay. In reality, ideally, if we were focused on strengthening our community, we know that we need families to do that. Okay, we know that the male and the female um, has a profound role and impact in the community, in the family unit in general. Okay, and we see the fallout that happens when that is not available. All right, honestly. And some of you guys definitely know. Again, maybe not your fault that you were in a situation where you had to raise your child alone. But if you're honest, you know that there were maybe some areas, some deficits. Your child probably came to you and asked you questions, or they developed a resentment for that lost family member if that person wasn't passed away or something. If that person was just irresponsible, inactive, then a lot of the children turn into, you know, create resentment towards that absent parent. So all this promotion of all this stuff, okay, it becomes a huge distraction to what the black man and the black female should be doing. Okay, and I know that you guys have probably heard a lot of the crazy stories. For instance, there was a crazy story, I think it was sometime last year, where a man was married to a lady, albeit he was very effeminate. You know, you could tell that he was effeminate even when he was with the woman. And he left his wife and got with a man and became the feminine, you know, wearing when I saw his picture, he was wearing high heel boots and booty, you know, very form-fitting jeans and like a crop top, and he had transformed into the female in the relationship with the man, and he went and married this man. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, this is mind-blowing. And a lot of times there will be kids in the mix. So just imagine, guys, just take a minute out. All right, a lot of you guys are, you know, old school. You guys come from my world, my generation. Okay, so just imagine you have a mom and dad. Okay, and one day one of your parents comes home and says, yeah, I'm not your mom anymore, I'm your dad. And you're like, I already got a dad and your mom, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, you can't call me, you know, mom anymore. I'm your dad, or you can call me, my new name is Bob. And it's also more psychological damage. You know, I can only imagine what some of these children, you know, how they try to negotiate these dynamics happening with their parents and things like that. More confusion coming from the Western world, you know. And yet again, a simple examination would tell you we just shouldn't be ingesting what they have to offer. They are our historical perpetual enemy. Whatever they have and whatever they promote to us, it's not in our best interest, guys. It's not in our best interest. There are a lot of things that would be beneficial to our people. Even here on the continent, if the Western world wants to give aid to Africa, they want to help, you know, African nations develop, why don't they make roads? Why don't they send solar panels? Why don't they teach skills and, you know, agriculture instead of the relationship that they have? You know, creating more dependency, creating more destabilization in these nations. You know, the promotion of this the promotion of this trans and alternative lifestyles, it's not in the best interest of our community. I understand that there are people in our community that have these questions or whatnot about their sexuality. However, the mainstream promotion of it seeks to do more harm than good. You know, because even people that are in heterosexual relationships They do not go and broadcast. I've literally in my entire life, I've never seen, these type of billboards or television shows that, you're just like, yeah, I'm a heterosexual. I'm only into men or I'm only into women. No, this overt promotion is definitely an agenda. Okay, personally, this is how I knew that the COVID vaccines. This is how I knew they weren't too legit to quit. Because let's think about it. Pause. Okay, there's several life-threatening diseases: cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all kind of mental issues, um, Crohn's disease, all this stuff, right? All these health conditions. There's no free health care in the US. There's no free medicines. There's no exploring maybe herbal medicines or alternative treatments for these conditions. Meanwhile, when the COVID vaccine came, they was giving it to you free. They was giving it to you on the corners. They was giving it to you at CVS and Walgreens free. They were getting celebrities to offer free concerts and giving out t-shirts and everything for free to get you to take this thing. So logic would say, okay, wait a minute. You ain't giving free medication for HIV, okay? All this money that's been poured into cancer research, y'all haven't figured it out yet. Huh? Y'all haven't fixed Down syndrome. Y'all haven't, diseases that have existed for decades, they haven't made no headway. Suddenly out of nowhere, COVID comes out of nowhere, and suddenly you guys got a vaccine, and suddenly you guys are pushing it. It screamed foul play. It screamed not legit, And I promote you guys to understand that whatever they promote to us, whatever that is, okay? Also, interracial dating. They push the frick out of interracial dating. It's not good for our people. My next topic is talking about the food and obesity. That's the next proximity. All this fast food they promote, all this stuff, whatever they promote, guys, it's money making. It's not for the benefit of you. It's not for the benefit of you. And I know it's kind of a weird world where it's like everything promoted to you is bad and the good stuff you have to like research and dig out and figure it out. But essentially that's how it is. Essentially that's how it is, because guess what, guys? They can't make a fortune off of good living. They can't make a fortune off of good living. Just imagine, shout out to Timothy Lucas, I see you there. Just imagine you get sick. All right? You get, I don't know. Give me a disease, guys. Give me something. Give me something. Give me a disease. Shout out to the African Superstar family. Sir Patrick, what's up, guys? Miss Jim Jims, I see you there. I'm about to go through the chat room in just a minute. Give me a disease, guys. Just imagine you get sick with something. Okay? And you go to the doctor and he says, okay, let me give you this ointment. Okay? This is actually from my herbalist. This is one of the ointment treatments that I use on my skin condition. It's called white ointment. Okay? So let's say you go there and you get this. One day you get it. Within a week, you're totally healed. Okay? Let's say you pay $10 for it. Now, what's better? Let's say you're a capitalist doctor. Let's say you're trying to make money. Okay? You get sick with this condition. Now he says, take this, but you need 2 bottles of this a week for the next year. Huh? Let's do the math real quick. Who can do it? I want to see who gets the figure first. Come on, guys. Get active in the chat room. Wake up. I assure you it's way later here in Ghana than it is in the US or the UK. So wake up. Well, UK is closer to our time. But anybody, Canada, US, Mexico, it's y'all need to wake up. Hello. All right. So I've given you guys, this is an equation. Hello, shout out to my mathematics in the chat room. All right. So you go to the doctor. He says, you need 2 bottles of this ointment a week for a whole year. All right. So that's $20 a week. You guys should know how many weeks in a year. Okay. Who's got the figure? Who's got the figure? Who's got the figure? Let me go ahead and start with the chat room, give you guys an opportunity to calculate. The equation is your doctor says, you need 2 of these a week, $10 a bottle. So that's $20 a week. And I prescribe it for a whole year. You need a whole year to heal up. Okay, so $20 a week for X amount of weeks gives you the total. That's the first trivia question to answer tonight. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Get into this chat room and be part of our conversation. Okay, tonight's episode is about the dangers of proximity, distorted gender roles. Okay, nobody knows if they're a male or female and what male and female should be doing. Men want to be women, women want to be men. It's nonsense. Okay, it's not serving us well. Our community is in shambles, and we can't make the correlation as to what is leading into it. All right, we got ATM International in the building. Shout outs to Abdul Mohammed, Wardrum, Duffly KM. I see the African Superstar family in the building. Sweetberry 32 is here with me. Miss Jim Jims. Yes, I see you there. Sir Patrick. Shout outs to the family. Timothy Lucas. Guys, can nobody... Come on, guys. I gave y'all the equation. Can y'all not figure it out? That's bad. $20 a week times X amount of weeks. How many weeks in a year? Can y'all at least give me that? Jesus Christ. We got 14 of y'all. Do you guys know how many weeks in a year? Hello? Hello? Jeez. That's crazy. How many weeks in a year? Can you guys hear me? Jesus. Lord have mercy. I don't want to have to answer this question because this stuff is basic. Basic as hell. Thank you so much, Sweetberry 32. That was crazy. You're right. Okay, so you can either solve this problem for $10 in one go, or you can make $1,040 for the entire year. Okay, this is why your doctors in the West don't ever want you to get healed. If you don't know. Okay. This is why you have been taking medicine for years. Some of you guys. Hello. Blood thinners. Blood pressure medicine. Whatever. High cholesterol. Whatever. Okay. They have no interest in telling you how to eradicate that disease, heal that disease, lessen your symptoms, lessen, whatever. They don't have any interest in healing you because of this. They want to keep you coming back for medication year after year after year, month after month. They want you to keep coming for therapy. They want you to keep seeing your cardiologist and all this BS because they want the money. They don't give a damn if you get better. They don't want you to get better. Matter of fact, if the American government had their way, then you would be dead. So you can never ever claim Social Security. They basically want you to live your life working, because some of y'all don't understand. All right, they want you to live your life working for them, paying taxes. Okay, supporting the economy and all that stuff, being a consumer, so that the fat cats can keep on getting rich. Then you die before you can retire, and you don't touch a penny of your Social Security earnings that you've put in for 20, 30 years, whatever. That's what they want. Or you can get sick as you get elderly, and then they can suck you dry with the, nursing homes and Medicare and Medicaid and all this stuff and prescription drugs. Yeah, guys, proximity. That's what I'm saying. My pro tip to you is everything that they promote to us is bad. Simply put, everything they promote us to do, interracial dating, this trans agenda, gender wars, hello, feminism, lenient parenting, hello, gun accessibility, all this stuff that they promote, explicit media. You know, you got kids having video games at 7, 8 years old, tons of violence, lots of gun shootings, and you wonder why they'll go and replicate what they see and what they spend all their time observing. I mean, it's not rocket science. And the craziest thing is that unfortunately, a lot of Americans think that exposure to explicit stuff, instead of realizing how influential and dangerous that is, they think that's freedom. The ability to listen to explicit movies, the ability to expose your kids to explicit media, music, video games, TV programming, that's freedom. But everything else is not freedom. Proximity. Proximity. Our people are not thinking straight. Okay? And, you know, it's a very consuming environment. Some of these things can start to rub off on even the most strongest individual, the person who feels like, oh yeah, I won't never be affected by that. You know, Sweetberry, I thought about something you mentioned yesterday on the live stream, and I just wanted to say that I've never seen your nose up close, but your nose is fine. You know, I was saddened to hear that you don't like your nose and you want to change it with surgery. And, you know, this is an example of what proximity can do to us. You know, it makes us have unnecessary questions or perceptions about our appearance. I beg to wonder that if you grew up around your people exclusively, if you would have that context about your nose. But I just want to tell you that you are designed the way you are meant to be. You know, and there's nothing wrong with the way that you're meant to be. And even if you look different than other people, those are the things that make you unique. Okay? Those are the things that set you apart. And there's beauty in that. You know, if everybody looked the same, it would be so boring. And I think that we're designed the way we're supposed to be because we are dynamic. We do stand out. We do draw attention. And I would love for you to think, you know, long and hard as to the reasons why you feel like you want to change your name, your nose. You know, why do you want to do that? You know, because I mean, at this point, you know, you're a grown woman. So, you know, you've been looking like this your whole life. Do you really want to change your face? You know, and it also becomes a slippery slope for a lot of people that get into that game. Because once you do that, then you're like, oh, I want to kind of fix my chin, or I want to add some dimples, or I don't like my teeth, or my I need some Botox. You know, it becomes a slippery slope. So I would love to encourage you to look deep inside, because I know that, for instance, I have issues because of proximity. I think it's translated into my hot temper. You know, I'm very patient, for instance, with my audience here on YouTube, but I'm not patient with them in real life at all. I know that my bias has come from the proximity. I used to want a high-powered corporate career. You know, I used to want that. That's what I went to school to do. They totally turned me off of that environment because of the the BS. Excuse me, look, yeah. The BS I went into and continue, you know, so I know that I too have suffered due to proximity. You know, a lot of us have side effects of that environment. But you know, the truth is nothing is wrong with you. You know, that's the truth. Nothing's wrong with you. You may have been convinced. Obviously, when you're in your formative years and you experience some of these things, it's really, really sticks with you. And it really shapes the world as you see it. But the truth is, nothing's wrong with you. You know, I have a little gap in my teeth, right? And, you know, some people have perfectly straight teeth, especially here in Ghana. And I've had people tell me, like, I really like your teeth. I really like your little fang tooth, you know, because it's different. and actually, I shared these traits with my mom, my aunties. It's a maternal thing. You know, all the ladies in my mother's side, we have these teeth, this dental structure. And so I think about, yeah, I could go get veneers. I mean, I quite like my teeth anyway. But I could go get veneers, and then I would lose that trait of my family, you know, and I don't want to. So anyway, I just thought about that, and I wanted to add that to Sweetberry 32. Okay, family, what's up, Land 20? Is it Ian Land? What kind of name is this, bro? Is it Landay 24? That is for real a tongue twister name. Big shout out to you in the building. Yes. Timothy Lucas, I don't know what kind of math you was doing. 12 times 4? What was you trying to do with that? I don't know. The trivia question was why the Western world doesn't want to heal you is because they can make so much more money from you being sick. So the question was, if you go to the doctor, he gives you this medicine, it costs $10, and he says you're going to be healed in a week. Okay, you get healed, you don't go back to the doctor. The doctor made $10. Or he says, yeah, you're going to need 2 of these a week for the whole year. So that was $20 a week for 52 weeks in a year. How many weeks there are in a year? The total was $1,040. Okay, so the doctor would much rather make this money than the $10 and you're healed and you never come back. Okay, the Western world is going to medicate you until the end. You're never going to get better from whatever they have to tell you. Okay, again, shout out to the African superstar family. Yes. I don't know, Timothy Lucas, he was doing some other math. I don't know what he was. It's okay. I'm gonna catch y'all on the spot sometimes with these trivia questions because I'm trying to keep hope alive. Everybody in my chat room, all 15 of you guys should know that there's 52 weeks in a year. All right. I'm not talking to no whippersnappers that's 10 years old. I'm talking to grown people. We all should have learned that. That's one of them things. 52 weeks in, you know, they used to hit us up with them word problems. Y'all remember them word problems back in the day? If Timothy Lucas walks 10 miles at 5 miles per hour, and then he runs into Miss Jim Jim's, and she's walking 10 miles per hour, how many miles did they walk together? You know, those kind of word problems. And you gotta create an equation and do all that stuff. Oh, it used to, variables and order operations. Hey guys, I'm stirring up the pot. Do you remember? Remember the time when you fell in love? Do you remember the time? Shout outs to those of you guys that remember them word problems, Miss Jim Jim's and Sweetberry. Yeah, them problems. The problem would be like a paragraph like that. And they would throw in some red herrings too. They would throw in, you know, okay, if Miss Jim Jim's walks 10 miles per hour for 20 minutes, runs into Sweetberry 32, Sweetberry 32 got a hamburger. Then Miss Jim Jim's walked down the street, sees John walking 5 miles per hour for 10 minutes. How many miles did they walk? So you're just like, first of all, you got to figure out, okay, Sweetberry 32, she had a burger. She has nothing to do with this. And then try to solve it. So yeah, I don't think the new blood, they don't do that stuff. I don't think so. Because their critical thinking skills is at a hard zero. Hard zero. Literacy is at an all-time low. A lot of people don't even know how to read. A lot of my viewers, they lack in grammar, spelling, and comprehension. Hello. Sweetberry, stop eating them burgers and our word problems and trying to distract us from solving the word problem. Hello. Shout out to the African superstar family. Miss Jim Jim's, I would have to actually work it out. I would need to write it down and then try to figure it out. If you're walking 10 miles per hour for 20 minutes, okay, let's try it. Look, y'all done got me trying to solve it. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so if Miss Jims is walking 20 miles per hour. Wait, no, sorry. 10 miles per hour for 20 minutes. Okay, that's 200. And then John comes along and he's walking 5 miles per hour. Let's see, 5 miles per hour for 10 minutes. Okay, it's 250. 250 miles was what was walked. Okay, because 10 times 20 is 200. And 5 times 10 is 50. So 250. Woo! Woo! I'm a bad mamma jamma with them word problems, huh? Because I ain't did word problems since I was a kid. That was like 30 years ago. 30. So I figured that one out. Yeah, but anyway, y'all gonna get a little bit of math here every now and then, a little bit of trivia for y'all to get the cobwebs off the brain. Okay, it should be in your brain phone. That stuff should come back to you. Hello. All right, family. Anyway, to wrap this up, the proximity to the Western world is so dangerous and so detrimental. I have a whole series. I've talked about a variety of topics so far, and this is just the latest one. I still have a few more topics to cover on proximity. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about obesity and medications and all that stuff. We're going to get into some statistics. I mean, it's very evident, obviously, appearance-wise, how the Western world, how poor the health of the American people is, for instance. Even I'd say it's a little bit better in the UK because since the UK has to provide NHS, they regulate the food because they know that the food is a correlation to poor health. All right, so we get in that tomorrow. Okay, so big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Thank you guys for coming again. Thanks for everybody who was on code. I love and appreciate you guys. If you need your bespoke tour, please do reach out to me. Shout outs to Chinadu. I did get your email today in regards to your tour, so please check back for my response. Yes. Also, add us to your playlist. Put our music on your streams or on your phone or whatever. Thank you, Miss Jim Jims, for that super chat. I appreciate you, the one and only. You holding this, you holding this whole chat together, babe. I mean, you had a whole word problem dedicated to you. And we figured out the equation. Then you coming in here with the super chats. Much love to Miss Jim Jims. I appreciate the love and support on the channel, the continued love and support from so many of you guys that regularly come here and see me and engage with me and help these live streams be so dynamic, because obviously when I'm just talking to myself and no engagement, that's much more boring than getting your input. So thank you guys so much. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.